Indians have proved themselves in their intellectual capital and the DNA that encompasses the intellectual capabilities of India and Indians. However, what we have lacked in our country is, like I mentioned earlier, the ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship, and also an awareness of how important intellectual property is in everything that we do, the research we do, the innovations that we come up with, the development activities that we do, the processes that we come up with. All of this requires a very sound knowledge of what goes into building intellectual property. Now, if you look at countries all around the world, the power of those countries lies because they have been able to address this particular problem. It's not that an innovation has not happened here, but we have not been able to capitalize and file the intellectual property for all of this. And as a result of which, somebody else comes up with it, patents it, and then takes the advantage of the growth of that particular intellectual property, which expresses itself through products and through innovations. So, from my point of view, it is very important for us to deliberate and understand what intellectual property rights is all about. Atmanirbhar Bharat has in its focus 5 pillars upon which we have to stand. The first pillar is that of the demographic dividend. How do we harness the demographic dividend? We have 65% of our country under 35 years old. We have 150 million students entering into the workplace over the next 5 to 10 years. How do we ensure that this demographic dividend is taken advantage of for the growth of the nation and for the growth of society? So we have to stimulate and create an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship. But at the same time, we also have to parallelly ensure that this demographic dividend gets aware of what intellectual property rights are all about and how do you safeguard the research and innovation that comes out from our universities and from our institutes and from the industry, and ensure that we are able to capitalize on it for economic growth of our country. And that is very important. The second pillar that the Honorable Prime Minister has talked about is the pillar of infrastructure. We need to create not only the physical infrastructure to be able to let the benefits of innovation reach across to the remotest parts of the country, but we also want to ensure that the digital infrastructure is ensured and the digital highways are ensured so that every nook and corner of our country benefits from our innovations. Now, again, here, if you have the intellectual property of the innovations that you develop, you are able to ensure that this innovation can be applied elsewhere. Otherwise, somebody else who has this particular IPR or a patent starts having a competitive edge. And we don't want to lose that competitive edge just because we are not aware of what it goes in order to create this intellectual property. The third pillar that he talked about is the pillar of demand. We have tremendous demand in our country. We have 1.3 billion people. And so if we want to make sure that we are able to address this demand, there comes millions of opportunities for us to come up with research and innovation that is going to fill and fulfill this pent-up demand. That means tremendous opportunity for patents and innovations that we do, which are local to our country. And when we create innovations and we do research and we come up with patents and we come up with intellectual property that is leveraged for our country, we are able to leverage it for the rest of the world. And as the Honorable Prime Minister said, vocal to local. Vocal means we are giving expression to the innovations, the research that we are doing so that it can have global impact. The fourth pillar that he talked about is the pillar of technology. And technology has become affordable, accessible, available, and it has become advanced. Now, leveraging technology for creating new solutions, for promoting research in areas like artificial intelligence, blockchain, biotechnology, DNA, genomic sequencing, and so on, has become a reality, and it is becoming affordable. And with 150 million young students entering into the workplace over the next 5 to 10 years, if we take a strong step in making them aware of the possibilities and the advantages of creating their own innovations, patenting them, and being able to exercise that for the benefit of economic growth and society, the impact will be tremendous. And finally, the pillar of socio-economic growth. In order to grow from socio-economic growth, we need to ensure that not only is innovation in economic sense being promoted, but research and innovation for societal growth and societal benefits are also being done. And if you take it, the UN SDGs, the UN SDGs, 17 SDGs, which are their sustainable development goals, can only be attained if you do research and innovation that is going to promote the sustainable development goals. And therefore, there is a tremendous opportunity, even in innovations that exist today, but which are not addressing the sustainable development goals. We should be able to address it and be able to come up with new research and new innovation that can be patented and that can be leveraged for the rest of the world. So I compliment MNIT for having launched this. It is my pleasure and privilege to be able to be associated with this inauguration. And I do hope that this message, as well as the awareness, grows a long way, and we are able to ensure that it is becoming every university, every school, every industry takes advantage and builds the awareness, and thereby leverages the advantages of that to build an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to participate in this inauguration.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramanan, for your kind words and sharing the vision of the Government of India. Just to inform you, we have this incubation center as a registered society under TBI, or program of DST, and in a short journey of 1.5 years after inauguration of our building, we have today 73 startups working with us in different areas of technology, social applications, aggregation, and all those things. So although we started this in 2016 at a temporary location, and when we shifted, we had only 28. In 1.5 years, we could really replicate the number that we had at the time of beginning.